guys are too kind. Also, before I got into that, I meant to mention, I just want to give a massive shout out as well to Musicians Club and Schecter for bringing me all the way to Seoul. Make some noise for those guys,
뮤클 만세.
This is technically this is my third time here. In 2018, Intervals did a tour of Southeast Asia, and sadly we only had a layover in the Seoul airport, so I didn't get to actually experience Seoul. But last July was the first time that I ever got to spend time in your beautiful city, and it is one of my favorite places on the planet. I've been looking forward to coming back. It's an amazing, amazing place, so I'm lucky enough to spend one more day here tomorrow, and I will drink all of your coffee, and I will eat all of your sweet treats, and barbecue all of your delicious meats. And I'm not a poet, but that was kind of slick, wasn't it? Yes, Musicians Club takes very, very good care of us. So you guys are very lucky to have an amazing store and community like Musicians Club here in Seoul, so that's a beautiful thing. Basically the way this is going to work is I'm going to continue playing songs, but I would like to maybe answer some questions if you guys have any. So maybe I'll do another tune, and then if you feel like asking me a question, someone can shout something at me, and I'll do my best to maybe answer that for you. And if you don't, then I'm just going to keep making noises. So that's basically how it's going to go. But let's do another tune while the fingers are warming up a little bit. I'm going to do another track from Memory Palace while I've got the 7-string on. And we'll talk about these guitars in a little bit too. I'll tell you about what this is, because this is pretty nice. But this song is called Nootropic. shouldn't we be making breakfast right now? It happens. I appreciate it. Okay, listen. I'm gonna switch guitars. If you guys want to brainstorm, if anybody has a question, and say maybe get your we got a fractal, a Kemper, Helix,
Tonix.
yeah, cool. So I've been playing with digital guitar equipment for a long time now. I think I've been a fractal artist for over 10 years. Again, I'm feeling very old. And I spent a lot of time worrying about a lot of things. Amps, overdrive, effects. And what I found, I discovered during 2020, 2021, the quiet years, was how much the cabinet matters, impulse response, IR. And it was sort of something that it was kind of like one of those like aha moments, like a light bulb, you know, because we have so many options here, too many in fact, right?
Yeah.
So I find that we try to use everything in the box because, you know, you paid your hard-earned money for one, so you're like, I want to get, you know, I want to use all the tones. But something that I noticed was if every preset or every tone has a different cabinet, it's a little unrealistic because, you know, you watched Alex play through an amp, and every time he changed his sound, does the speaker change? Does the cabinet change? It doesn't change. This box stays on stage. So what I'm trying to say is the most important thing for me was settling on one speaker. And that's it. And that doesn't really answer your question about frequency, but what it does is it gives your tone like a fingerprint, like an identity, because the cabinet is like an EQ filter, right? So when you put the amp through that, I would say that changing the speaker cabinet, and I'm sure maybe you've done this, you know, when you're clicking around and you're listening for cabinets and then you listen to 3 and then you have no idea what you're even hearing anymore. They all sound so different. You're not even sure if the one you like is good anymore, right? So for me, what I discovered was if you keep that the same, you decide on one that you love, and then you make changes in front, so the amp or the overdrive, they're very small changes, but when you change the cabinet, it's very drastic. So deciding on a speaker that you love is really important. And then from there, we can talk about your question, which is what frequency do you think about, or does it, you know, matter, right? So guitar is a mid-range instrument. So if you're looking at the EQ spectrum, we want to be somewhere in the middle, right? So the guitar tones that feel the best and sound the biggest, that have the big bottom end and the big high end, are the ones that get lost live. As soon as the drummer plays, you're gone. It's over. So if you're doing what I do, which is playing a lot of lead, you need to have mids. So I think it's about deciding where in the frequency spectrum you like, and just a little bump. So for me, I like a little push around 800 hertz. I know you're looking for that number. I took a long time to get there. So something like that. And if I feel like maybe I want a little weight in the bottom, you know, maybe the B string's feeling a little thin, we'll push around 400 maybe. And these are small moves, half a decibel, maybe a decibel, and potentially wide on the Q, if you know what I mean, right? The curve, not so precise, a little wide. Bring all the friends with it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I had the pleasure of teaching and performing at John Petrucci's he's a camp that he does, 4-day camp. And Guthrie Govan was there. And I was busy teaching, but I had one day where I had nothing to do and Guthrie was teaching. So I sat in the back of the room and I watched Guthrie in person because I've been a fan for a long time and he's incredible. Do you guys know who Guthrie Govan is? Do we know who? Yeah, if you play guitar, I think you know who Guthrie is. And what I heard him say was, the hallmark of a really defined, very vocal guitar tone is a hilarious, like a cartoon amount of mids, because it's the frequency spectrum that the other instruments don't occupy. The drums are all high end, all low end, right? If you think about the vocals in a band, where does the vocal sit? The vocal is in the mid range. Well, I have no vocals. I am the vocal. Right? So you want to take that frequency up in the center. Now, let me show you something. So, I'll just kind of like, let's move into the next tune. Where am I? Yeah, we'll do this. So like, just as an example. Spoiler alert, I'm going to play 5-HTP next. But,
Wow.
So, listen to my rhythm. All of a sudden it's like this. And on its own it's a little weird. But in the mix, stand out forward in the mix. That's really important. I don't always love the way that feels all by myself. A little strange actually. We'll go again. And there's volume, of course, but if I push the mids at you, that's volume. Frequency is volume, right? Also, you can achieve mids by having less high end. Maybe we don't even have to push the mids. Maybe we just have less high end. Then the ear hears more mid, right? So, it's pretty nerdy, but
Love it.
it's a good question actually, because I struggled for a really long time with this. The tones that feel the best by yourself are often not the most practical tone for the band, right? See what else I have in this song. So this tune has a few things. So again, here's my rhythm. Listen to this thing. That's got a lot more high end in it, but it's built so it can do this. Right? And that's just pickups. Right? Dad, is that you? Right? So I'm trying to fake a strat there. Now, in order to do that, though, the tone has to have less mids. It needs to smile. You know what I mean? Just big drop in the mids. So, mid gain. Full rhythm. Big bottom end all of a sudden, right? And then lead. So you can kind of hear there's like scoop, flat, mid. You know what I mean? So that's how I try to think about it. It's a long answer, but hopefully that was cool for everybody. Is that good? Yeah. Alright, let's do this song. I can think of more questions. Okay, here we go. the Cali, basically, like a Mesa, and also a Greenback from a Marshall. I can't decide which is better, so I use both. And I just happen to combine. It's a SM57 on both, and then blend, 50-50, even. And it's pretty good, actually, because I find like Marshall cabs are a little scratchier and a little more scoop, and the V30 has the mids, so it's like both of the things that I need. So yeah, it's a good one. So basically, if you guys didn't hear me saying, my last two albums are kind of balanced between like the more melodic intervals material and some of the heavier, maybe more riff type stuff. He wants to know what's coming next, which is kind of sneaky, isn't it? I am enjoying playing more riff forward music lately. Not to say that I won't play lead. I have to. It's my curse, you know. It's my I signed up for this apparently. So, but I am enjoying playing the heavier stuff. And on tour, for the last few tours we've been playing the in time material, which is 7-string, and it's, you know, drop A flat, real low stuff. And that feels good again. And I kind of took a break from that because it wasn't feeling as good. And for me, I need to be honest when I write, because if I'm going to express myself, I don't want to be fake or feel like I'm not telling you the truth. So took a bit of a break from that, and now it feels good to do heavy stuff again. My manager always says nobody would be mad at the heavy song or the heavy album or whatever. In metal music, I think it's always like a welcome thing. And 7-string feels good to play. I'm also really enjoying 6-string in drop C again. That feels like, that's kind of like home base. So I'm gonna do one more drop D song, and then I'll move to the drop C stuff. So we'll do it, we'll go there. That's cool. Okay, so I'll do one more from Circadian while we're here, while I have this on. And then we'll start talking about guitars a little bit. Before I get into that, actually, I might as well tell you, this is the original version of my Schecter USA custom shop signature model. This came out about last summer. Actually, they were brand new when we came over here in July, which is really cool. And I know I've seen more than a few of these at Musicians Club, which is cool. So I know there's some in Seoul somewhere. And this is the original version of this guitar. It's an alder body with a roasted maple neck and fingerboard. It's really simple. There's only 2 materials on the whole instrument. And it's really snappy and really bright and immediate, and sounds really good on we were doing the little split coil stuff, the Stratty stuff. It's really good at that. And they're very balanced. They sound good when you tune them down. They sound good in standard tuning. They just sound good, you know? So we do have some new ones, and we'll talk about that. But I'll do one more song from Circadian. This song is called Lunatic. Also, I haven't played this one in a while, so let's see how it goes. Here we go. we should talk about this. This is kind of nice, right? So this is a new version of my USA Custom Shop. And I believe these guitars will at some point be available here. So if you like this, you should get one. This is the same guitar, effectively, as the one that I just played, except this one has fixed bridge, so no trem. I should say something, actually. You notice I didn't play trem on any of those songs. And that's because I have too many tunings, and I'm far from home, and I can only fit 3 guitars. So behind the trem is a block of mahogany, because I need to be able to tune it, because I'll do a song in standard tuning at some point. So if you've ever tried to tune a guitar with a trem, you know it's a bad time. So I don't want to stand here and tune all night. So I had to give it up for the clinic shows. So, but this guitar is tuned in drop C, and it's a fixed bridge, which is cool. All the original Intervals material was all like fixed bridge, drop C, no trem. So it feels good to be back. This guitar, however, is mahogany body and a really nice bird's eye neck. Super nice. Yeah, little bit of a different spec. Ebony fingerboard on this as well. Which helps with the mids, especially the mahogany. So this guitar is a lot more mid forward. Maybe the original one is quite flat frequency wise, and this one's definitely already got a little push in the mids, which is a good thing. Sounds kind of like, let's see, show you some tones. Oh, please. Pretty sick, actually. I like this one a lot. It feels really good. So, do we care about strings? I never talk about strings at clinics. Do we care about strings? I should tell you what's on here. I've been playing D'Addario strings for a really long time. Probably well over 10, 12 years, something like that. I use the NYXLs. And the original guitar is strung with 946. This guitar is 11 to 56 in drop C, a little heavier. And then I have 9s on the 7th string with a 62 on the low A. I don't know. Nobody ever asks about strings at clinics, and I feel like it's kind of an easy one. We have a joke in the band that I should get the strings tattooed on my forehead. I guess I could just write them on my hat. But, okay, let's do one more question, and then I'm gonna play some more stuff from Memory Palace. So you asked about inspiration, which is tough to speak about. I wish I had a better answer for inspiration, but you did say chords. So see if I can be specific about that. For me, it's more so about, like, when I get to writing, it's very rare that I write with chords only. Unless I play maybe an idea on the keys. So sometimes chords will happen here, maybe. It's kind of rare that I just write with chords. I kind of like a riff or a melody. And the reason I like that approach is because a riff will have chords, underlying chords. So if you look at a riff, there's sort of an implied, sort of chord progression that's happening inside a riff, whether you like it or not, unless all you play is, the stuff I played when I was 16 or whatever, But yeah, if you have a riff that, has some changing, bass notes and things like that. Actually, the song I'm about to play is probably a good example. So, spoiler, I'm going to play a song called Mnemonic from Memory Palace. And I'm really bad at keeping secrets. So the song started with the first part. So like that part is like, it's kind of a riff, but it's kind of chords, and they're not complex chords. I'm not doing stuff with like big extensions and chords. Really straight ahead, but there is a chord progression that happens. I'll do it slow. So I'm like kind of what I would consider like voice leading, if that makes sense. So I'm using some notes to transition the chords, and I'm also kind of highlighting like a potential melody at the same time. So the chord progression, you know, here is kind of a riff and a melody. It's almost like if you had a seed and you water the seed and then it turns into a plant. You know what I mean? So that idea to me is like a seed that I can water into a song. And that's how I wrote Mnemonic, was it sort of started with that. But if I'm thinking chords, let's see if I can get, I'm gonna go over to a clean sound real quick, just for the sake of this example. So something I like to do when I'm writing, that speaks to your question, is I like ideas that contain, like a melody, a rhythm, chords, all at the same time. So I don't know if I just pick a key. Well, I'll do something random. I'll just play guitar a little bit. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So like if I play like so the guitar's in drop C. So if I play in like G minor. So something I'm thinking about here, like there's notes, pretty notes happening, some melody, right? As much as I'm thinking about the high stuff, I'm thinking about the bass. That's pretty simple, right? But we can also start to bend that a little. Maybe. So using chromaticism is kind of nice. We know these are good. We know this good. Okay. Maybe we can go. That sounds complicated. It's actually kind of not. It's just a bunch of pretty notes. And instead of giving you the really simple stuff, I'm starting to give you the, because this chord works. Just move the bottom note. So, that delay is a little distracting. I want a clean tone. Where do I have a clean tone? Yeah, maybe this. No. There we go. That could work. Just jam it, you know what I mean? But what if we wanted to turn that into something like, right? I don't know. But that just came from this. It's like, you know that song Neon by John Mayer? It's like a budget version of Neon or something. It's like the Wish.com Neon or something. But I don't know, maybe I'll write a song for you. Maybe I'll write a song with that or something. I don't know. But I really like ideas that contain, the chords, the melody, whatever. We could also, that's just a random tempo, but like, maybe. Like that's kind of cool too. Maybe if I wanted to do something a little faster. There's another thing actually I really like about drop tuning because I love voice leading. Right? That's kind of how 5-HTP came together. Is like I love the idea that you can move, the ninth chord. If I'm looking at that chord, it contains so many melodies. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I like seeing chords and single notes all the same. But if you take that and you start to put some drums down, or you think about other ideas, I mean, it's all there. So that's a lot more than you asked for. But I think it's kind of cool because I don't see these ideas as like, maybe later in the song you just strip it only to chords. But maybe in the intro it's all of the ideas. Maybe at some point it's only the melody, But that's songwriting. So I like ideas that contain it's like a universe in a jar. You know what I mean? So that's cool. It's a good question. Let's take yours in the back because I made you wait, and then we'll do the song. And where's Jacob? So I'll start with that. Jacob is playing bass for Poppy right now, on tour with Baby Metal. Yeah, in Europe. Crazy. Very last minute. They make him wear a ski mask on stage. It's crazy. I was on the plane here and I was like, bro, is that hot on stage? Like, do you sweat on stage? He's like, yeah, it's hot. It's really hot. What a goof. Hopefully next time I'm in Seoul, I bring the band with me. I said I was going to do that last time, I know, but I think it's going to happen next year. So it's a little easier said than done, But the first part of your question was, melody. Where do I get inspired by melody? I don't know. I think with guitar music, one of the first times I heard melodic guitar that sounded like it made sense to me, where just the guitar was sort of singing, was maybe some Pat Metheny or something, if you know Pat, he's a jazz guitar player. But also I'm not much of a jazz guy, but there was some early music my dad was listening to. Wes Montgomery and George Benson, Pat Metheny and stuff. That kind of thing, A little squeaky there. That sound? It's like the guitar is singing, Could do it with single notes. I don't know where that comes from. I'm sort of trusting my intuition and my ear a little bit. I think the big revelation for me was guitar doesn't have to go. It's everybody does that, But I heard Pat, do that kind of thing. I was like, oh, that sounds more interesting to me. So I started messing around with melodies on one string, just going. I broke my rule. But seeing the melody in one direction on one string and not going, it's whatever. I think it's more useful for crafting memorable melodies. Because think about it, who does the best melody? The singer, right? Well, we could argue. I don't know, maybe you like the sound of saxophone. I kind of do. But that's actually a decent point. A singer has no frets. No frets. And they can't repeat notes either. It's very guitar, to be able to find the notes like that, or especially the same note. That's very guitar. But a vocalist can't do that. An E on the vocal is an E. I don't care how you do it, right? Same with a saxophone, or flute, or trumpet, So those types of, whether it's a singer or a horn player, I think they see melody vertically, like this, low to high. So when you think about the melody, you kind of think about it in a straight line. Whereas on guitar, we do all this weird stuff that a vocalists would never do that. Or like, wrong key, but you know what I mean? Such a guitar thing. You can't even do that on a piano unless you take the same key. You go get on the same. You know what I mean? Which is, I guess, that's a move. I guess that's cool. So yeah, all of that is to say, I think like forcing yourself to stop thinking about the guitar like a guitar and to create like melodies. You know, if we do one string, so like let's say I'm just thinking B string, I can still sound like a guitar. That's a pretty guitar thing to say. And to mix it up a little bit. Then it sounds like a guitar, right? But I'm thinking melody just in a straight line. So I think that that's really important. And where do you get the inspiration? All your favorite vocalists, all your favorite sax players, all your favorite, you know, musicians that make music that sound like that. So, cool question. I don't want to run out of time on music, so I'm going to play another one. Let's do this one. This is demonic. Okay. We're in tune. Here's another thing a vocalist doesn't have to do. Tune themselves. time, I'll slide into another song. So we good on time? We got time for some songs? No, we're getting there? One more. I talk too much. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna do, okay. I'm gonna play a song I didn't play in Seoul last time. So this is actually the last track from Memory Palace. And I'm gonna get into that now, and then I think that's gonna probably wrap it up. If somebody has one last burning question that they absolutely need an answer to, maybe shout that out. Okay, quick in the front. Let's do that, and then I'm gonna play one more song. The only bass that works for my music is a dingwall. All the brands that you mentioned, though, Schecter make a wonderful bass. Aristides make a great bass. I think the thing that works the best for us is fan fret, multi-scale. It's because so many tunings and extended range and stuff. So, but listen, I'm not a bass guy. So, I used to play bass on some of the early intervals material, but I'm not a bass guy. So, hopefully that's cool. So listen, I'm gonna do this last song. It's called Chronophobia, and this is the last song from Memory Palace. And I also just want to thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out. I hope this was informative. You guys got to see some music and maybe get some nerdy questions answered. So make some noise for yourselves one time real quick. Thank you. Came a very long way to play music for you guys, so it means a lot that you would come, especially on a school night. So thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. One more time, everybody, make some noise for Musicians Club and Schecter, who brought me all the way from Canada. One more time. You guys are super sweet. Also, thanks to the crew here at the venue. This is my second time here. It's beautiful. So, love you guys, and hopefully I see you soon. Okay, everybody. Bye. Take care. See you.